Hello and welcome to Around the Clock Marathon Edition. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. We have a very special marathon show for you today. Not only am I here down at the finish line, we also have people in Hopkinton and in Ashland. So I have two guest hosts helping me today. I have Michelle in Hopkinton at the start and Makita Keegan in Ashland. Hey Michelle, how are things going?
Good morning, Yolanda. So we're out here at the start of the Boston Marathon in Hopkinton, and there are few spectators, but everyone out here looks really pumped to cheer on the runners that are about to run pretty soon. And I mean, it's a little rainy, but everyone's dressed for it, and they're having a great time.
Thanks, Michelle, for that. And we also have Makita Keegan in Ashland. Makita, how's it going?
All right. Good morning and welcome to WACA's coverage of the 122nd Boston Marathon. I'm Makita Keegan, and I'll be with you here in Ashland on 135 today, talking about the runners, talking about the conditions today. As you can see, we have beautiful spring weather. Actually, it's closer to 35 degrees and kind of raining and snowing a little bit. Well, I haven't seen a lot of, it's more like sleeting. But we really want to focus on the athleticism and the dedication of the athletes that we're going to see today. And actually, we also want to give a big shout out to some of the spectators as well, who are supporting these incredible athletes as they run, not just for glory, but many are running for a number of very worthy charitable causes as well.
Thanks for joining us, Michelle and Makita. So as you can see, it is a rainy marathon day, lots of wind. We do wish the runners the best of luck. We have some great stories to share with you. We have the story of Jen Joyce, who's running for Jake Silva and his family. We also have an interview with Dave McGilvery, who is the Boston Athletic race director, and some other great stories. So stay with us here on Around the Clock. We're sitting here filming today's episode, and Jen Joyce ran in. Jen, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Jen is running the Boston Marathon as a fundraiser for Jake Silva. Many of you know Jake's story. Jen, why are you running for Jake?
So I am running the Boston Marathon this year in support of Jake and his family. Everyone's probably aware of his battle with osteosarcoma, and the goal of this marathon for me is just raising as much money as possible for Jake and for his family.
So how can people fundraise? How can people participate and donate?
So it's very easy. The goal is to kind of get as many people as we can to donate $26 because that adds up very quickly in large amounts and enable the family to use the resources for things that they might need and just take some of the pressure off.
So it's a GoFundMe page, Running for Jake, the number 4, Boston Marathon 2018. The link is below. Please consider donating, even if you can just do the $26. Certainly if you can do more, that would be greatly appreciated. Jen, thank you so much for running and stopping by and letting us know about it.
Thank you so much.
Champion of the 2013 marathon winner, Hiroyuki Yamamoto. The most decorated champion in race history from South Africa, 10-time winner Ernst van Dijk. And a 3-time defending champion from Switzerland, welcome back course record holder Marcel Goude. And to start the wheelchair pushroom division, it's long-time former race director and executive director of the Boston Marathon, Guy Morse. Guy's contributions to the continued success of the Boston Marathon through the 80s, 90s, and beyond are legendary. And there they go! The 2018 BAA Boston Marathon wheelchair are heading eastbound. And a perfect start indeed. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for braving the weather coming out. We have more starts to come.
As we see the wheelchairs over my shoulder, the wheelchair race was not added to the Boston Marathon until 1975. They've also changed how they start over the last couple of years. They've refined the different groups starting at various times. So they start with the disabled, the wheelchairs, we then see the women elite, and then the men elite, and then of course the waves of thousands of runners as they go through the start line and eventually end up here at the finish line in Boston.
Headed down East Main Street.
We just watched the Hoyt team go by, and this year, Brian Lyons is running with Rick as they're going down the Boston Marathon. They're a staple to the Boston Marathon, and Yolanda got to talk to Rick and Dick Hoyt at the YMCA Capital Kickoff Marathon Breakfast this past March about how they started running.
So we are now here with Rick and Dick Hoyt. If you've ever watched the Boston Marathon, they are a staple and they are such an inspiration to all of us. Dick, what is the Boston Marathon to you?
Oh, it's everything to us. It's just unbelievable. I never thought I'd ever be running the Boston Marathon, and it's all his fault. That's why we're running the Boston Marathon now. And
How is it his fault?
It's his fault because I was not a runner, and he found out about an injured athlete, and they were going to raise some money for him so he could pay his medical bills. And so there was a race that he wanted to run in, and that's all we had was a chair like this. And so I pushed him in that chair.
Wow.
And when we finished that race, he said, "Dad, when I'm running, it feels like my disability disappears," which was a very powerful message. If you think about it, somebody can't talk, use their arms and their legs, and now they're out there running their disability.
It's
He called
unbelievable
himself
to see it.
Freebird because now he is free and able to be out there competing with everybody else. And that's how we got started.
Well,
Yeah.
that is such a great story. And for as a parent, I'm a parent. You do what you can for your kids, but I feel like you've gone above and beyond. So your running must have improved. What did you do to improve your running?
We just ran in more races, and then we picked up the distance, and then we picked up some speed work. And we do have a 2:40 marathon time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, do you still run the marathon, the Boston, yourself?
Well, I just had back surgery, so I won't
Okay.
be running this year. And I didn't run last year because
Right.
of the back. But he's got a local dentist from Billerica, Mass, Brian Lyons, who will be pushing him this year.
Very nice.
But there's one thing that I don't know if you heard about the Ironman triathlon in Kona, Hawaii.
Yes.
That's the world's championship. Him and I are the only ones in the world that have ever completed it as a duo.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I mean,
You
I
swim.
just watch little parts of the Ironman and I go, oh my gosh. So,
Swim 2.4 miles, bike 112 miles, and then run a full marathon. Wow. So
Well-
other people have tried it, but they haven't been able to do it. I would love to be able to do that again with Rick.
well, who knows? If you keep going back from the back injury, and who knows, you could do it again.
Well, the rain has definitely picked up, and because of that, we are under our WACA official canopy for the race. Saw some incredible wheelchair athletes just go by. We've got a couple more coming up the road right now. I've noticed that there's a variation in wheelchair racing design. I've seen some folks more upright. Here's some more folks who are more flat. Unfortunately, I'm a little ignorant on the advantages or disadvantages or necessities of both models, but I assume that you have to be an incredible athlete to operate either, and they are going extremely fast.
Person is staying warm, but they are going.
Yep, they sure are. Just incredibly hardy souls out here today, running this race, participating in this race, and it is quite incredible to see all of this hard work and training pay off in the culmination of this one big event. You know, it's hard. It's kind of hard to think about what's going on with an elite athlete under these conditions, but I can assume that they're only thinking about getting to that finish line.
Well, I'd say the temperature right now is probably just a little above freezing. It's probably like in the mid-30s.
Yeah, it's somewhere around that on May 15th. I'm sorry, April 15th.
Now, you're a runner. How do you prepare for weather like this?
Well, my goodness. Well, to say that I'm a runner and to compare myself to these incredible athletes going by right now is probably an exaggeration of terms. But, I do enjoy running in all different conditions. And basically, it's a matter of preparation and training. You have to have the right equipment. You have to have the right gear. But then you also have to have the right mindset. You have to make peace with the fact that, hey, you're going to be cold. Hey, you're going to be wet. But you know what? It's okay. You just got to keep going,
Here comes Eric Van Dyke, just behind Marcel. Illinois, which is really the leading training center for wheelchair athletes.
You should have started around the time.
Well, we found a little bit of a dry spot here at the finish line to share with you some of the interviews and stories that we have on this special edition of Around the Clock. We have an interview that we were able to do with Dave McGillivray. Dave is the race director for the Boston Marathon, and we had the opportunity to speak with him at the YMCA breakfast when he was awarded the Inspiration Award. Let's take a look at that interview.
A hobby, a passion with a vocation. And that's what everybody needs to strive for in their life. And they said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a race director. And they said, what the heck? A race director? What the hell do they do? Chalk mark on the road, yell go? Give them a bowl of beef stew and say, now get out of here? I said, well, yeah, I guess that's what we do. And now when people say to me, what do I do for a living? I say, to help raise the level of self-esteem and self-confidence of tens of thousands of people in America. Because that's what this race does.
Here with Dave McGillivray, who has just been honored by the Metro West YMCA and their Inspiration Award. Dave, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be recognized by the Y. It's especially following in the footsteps of the Hoyt. So I don't know what I did to get on a similar platform as them, but very honored.
So you are the race director for the Boston Athletic Association. What is that job like?
I actually consider myself now more as like a conductor, because the idea is to surround yourself with really talented people. And all the staff and all the committee members at the BAA and all the cities and towns, I mean, these people have been doing this for years and years and years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So my job is to sort of make sure it all works harmoniously and that we end up with a really good end product at the end of the day. And so far, so good for the last 30 years.
Now, you are a runner, and we heard that you have done the 7 marathons in 7 days challenge. What was that like?
It was pretty intense. For me, I've been running all my life, so the running part of it, running 26 miles for 7 days in a row, I'm not saying it was easy, but I was in my element. It's the hecticness between each marathon that sort of drove me a little crazy, because you're not in control of your destiny anymore. You just got to follow everyone else, kind of a thing. But it ended up working out really well. I didn't get injured at all. I was able to get through all 7. I did it to raise money for the Martin Richard Foundation that I've been supporting ever since 2013. So I'm glad I was able to get it done.
As the race director, what is your biggest challenge with the marathon?
I think, again, my focus is primarily the logistical and operational side of things. So, there's a lot of moving parts. It's outside. It's not like a beach volleyball tournament or a basketball tournament where you're in a controlled environment. So you have to be sensitive to everything that's going on around you. Of course, Mother Nature is always a challenge in terms of, look at the weather we have now with all the snow and the cold. And it could be a hot year, it could be a cold year, it could be a snowy year, it could be a rainy year. So we have to sort of think about all the different crises management kind of situations that might occur and play them all out. But again, we have such a great team that this thing comes off like clockwork.
And what is your greatest sense of accomplishment with the marathon?
I think it's really, being a little bit involved in the concept of giving people the opportunity to sort of set a goal to run the marathon, and then to qualify, and then to come here to Boston and run what's considered the holy grail of all marathons around the world, cross the finish line, get their medal, and then we get cards and letters and emails from all these people just saying how thrilled they were, what a great race it was. The spectators were second to none. So just sort of understanding that it can be a life-changing experience for so many people.
Great. Well, Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We look forward to another great race and another great marathon as we head into April. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are about to see some of the elite women come through Ashland. The first pack of elite women, I believe, are coming through town right now on 135. And out in front, it's an incredible field. And notice how they're all sticking together in a pack. This is actually part of a strategy here, as we have a pretty serious headwind. They are sticking together. You can see clusters of these runners coming by, these elite women coming by, trying to conserve their energy, most likely, and not run a harder race than they need to, at least up front. And there they go. It's going to get more and more challenging as the day goes by, as the winds pick up and the rains pick up. Listening to a lot of other commentators, it's very doubtful because of the conditions that we'll see many of these women go under 220 today, but you never know. The rain is definitely a factor. The cold may actually be a factor, but the wind is the biggest factor of all. Some wheelchair assisted coming up here, battling the rain and the cold and pushing through. Again, kind of at a disadvantage if you're not in a pack of runners, at least initially today. That could definitely hurt your time. Strategy-wise, a lot of folks are predicting that we'll see some of these elites run in packs pretty much up until like the last 10K of the race, and then it will essentially be a sprint.
So behind me, the elite men are warming up, and that looks like it's the start of the 122nd Boston Marathon. We'll see you in Boston, Yolanda, in about 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Elite have started. You can see it over my shoulder in Hopkinton. It's this rainy day, it's a raw day, but as we said, the race must go on. Over 1,000 media passes have been given out, 1,000 media credentials. We at WACA TV have been fortunate to get it, and we're getting to share the story with you on Around the Clock.
I love you!
We're still here at the finish line waiting for the runners in the rain. We see that the elite men are in Ashland. They'll be coming down past Marathon Deli shortly. The elite men and the elite women, the winners, each get wreaths made out of olive leaves from Marathon Greece. It's a gift to the city of Boston. Each of the winners also gets $150,000 in prize money. And that's all thanks to one of the major sponsors of John Hancock.
And we are here awaiting the arrival of the elite men here on 135 in Ashland. See the motorcade coming by. Not sure of the speed on the race with the men right now, but it's anticipated that this is going to be a little bit of a slower race than expected. You see the motorcade going by. We see the time truck. Elite men should be coming through shortly. And here they come. We'll see who's leading the pack here for the elite men. We'll see if last year's winner is out in front or not. And here they come, streaming through. Again, it looks like and we have last year's winner coming through in a pack. Again, it looks like the men are employing a very similar strategy as the women, trying to stay within, for the most part, a group, trying to protect themselves from that headwind. A little quicker than I had anticipated, but it's early yet. Again, staying in that group, making sure they're protecting themselves from the wind. Hopefully not working any harder than they need to at this point. We're seeing groups of the elite men go by. I do maintain, though, that I think we're going to see people going at a pretty steady clip throughout most of this race, and then towards the end have that burst to try to either win, obviously, or get their personal best down. It's a challenging course today, but I think that's kind of how spectators here, and we've seen the spectators fill out a little bit more. I think that's where they come in. That's where they're the game changers. They come out, they provide their support, they scream and show their enthusiasm. That's what I would imagine motivates a lot of these folks at the back of the pack to just keep going. Wow, what an incredible crowd here at the marathon today. Just all these folks just raring to go and running. This is fantastic. Doesn't matter about the weather, doesn't matter about the conditions, they are here to get it done.
We are at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. The women's lead runner is about to head down toward us. You can hear the crowd in back of me. Boston, even in this weather, supports their runners and is out here to support the Boston Marathon. We just watched Desiree Linden from the U.S. win the 2018 Women's Elite Race. This is quite the weather to be running in. It was been over 30 years since a U.S. athlete has won this race, so congratulations to Desiree Linden on her win today, and we hope she recovers and gets warm quick. We're about to see the men's elite runner come in. There was a switch at the lead, probably about a mile or so out. The current lead is now from Japan. Again, a huge switch happened. There was a lead for the longest time, and now it looks like Yuraguchi from Japan is going to be winning the men's elite. He's coming down pretty soon. We're going to see him come right over my left shoulder, coming down Boylston, almost at the finish line.
His first World Abbott Marathon major win, Yuki Kawauchi from Japan. Here he comes. And he is your champion from Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, as she is soaking it all in, let's hear it once again. Our 2018 Women's Champion from the United States of America, Desi Linden.
Part of what makes the Boston Marathon run so smoothly are the over 3,000 volunteers that help. They are either helping with security or manning water stations. You see some of them in the orange jackets around us. They make sure that things run smoothly, and they are there to make sure the runners have a great race. This rainy day, they can't keep them dry or warm, but they are there to help them with water and security and helping them find their way. Well, that wraps up this episode of Around the Clock. I hope you have enjoyed our Boston Marathon edition. It was a little wet, a little cold. A big shout out and thank you to both Michelle at the Hopkinton Start and Makita covering the fort in Ashland. If you ever have a story to share, please make sure you reach out. That's a wrap.
We're here at Weston Nursery watching the race go by, and we're here for a 26.2 Foundation fundraiser for the new center that they're building. Let's go check it out.
What we do is we promote everything that's related around the marathon that benefits people. So we talk about the running, the health, the education, determination, character development.
Also the democracy end of it too. You know, it all started in Greece, and that's why the marathon is run.
Yeah, pretty much.
And our big initiative is to establish a new international marathon center. We've got the land that's been given to us by the town, and so now we're in the fundraising stage in order to start to bring a museum that can elevate the values and the success of marathon for the whole world.
So how's that going so far?
Like I said, we just got the land. So the land is the first step. So now we're working at raising the funds so that we can bring this out and establish it. Our goal would be to have that up in a couple of years.
So where is the land for people that don't know?
Just over the hill. There's a banner up just over the hill heading towards Hopkinton.
Okay, so pretty close to here.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Perfect spot.
A perfect spot, right. 30,000 people running the marathon.
Exactly.
It's one of the oldest continuous marathons in America, and so what a great place to have the museum.